Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're looking at the Mathews Vertix. So this bow has been out for a couple of years by Mathews, and basically it's still the same lineup today on the Mathews as what's in this bow. So the cams are unchanged. On the new Mathews are the same cams, which is a twin cam, yoke system here, obviously a stabilizer. The new one's got a stabilizer system, roller slides, but it's pretty much the same. 30 inches, the new ones would be like 31 or something like that. So brace heights I think is about 6, shoots about 340 it's meant to. This one's second hand and it's in very good condition. So there, now it's got a fancy spot hog sight on it, fancy micro adjustable HDX, so HDX and MXT rest, so the one up from the HDX rest, and a bee stinger stabilizer, so, and a Mathews bow quiver. So he had pretty fancy stuff. Now a bit about the customer. I think he's in movies, and so he came in, and when he brought the bow off me, nice guy, and then he kind of disappeared for a while. So then he's been overseas and he comes back. I actually didn't notice him when he came back in. He goes, look, I want to get rid of this stuff. You know, what will you give me for it? Very hard to come up with prices for secondhand stuff. So when people go, give like, you know what it's worth. I don't know what it's worth. I've got no idea. I take a guess and hopefully I'm right. And hopefully I can sell it for more than what I paid. Hopefully. And then I hope the customer who buys it doesn't blow it up and want their money back. Or I hope that when I sell it, it's not a fraud case and I lose my money. Because that happens as well. Today I lost $1,500 on a fraud case. So, anyway, so this boat. So selling stuff, you've got risks. And some people are just like, I don't want to deal with customers. I'll sell it to you. So, this boat, very good condition. I don't think he's shot it much. It's sort of set up and it's got a really good side and a rest and stuff. So we're going to just have a go. I'm at 30 meters here. It's a nice day outside. I might move the camera around a little bit behind me so you can kind of see what we're doing. And we're going to shoot some arrows. Now, the bow, I think, in the specs weighs about 4.4 pounds. I like the Mathews quiver. Look, I prefer a two-piece quiver. Some of the arrows are held down here. They're a bit more secure. But like they clip in nice. I prefer a two-piece, that's all. But the Mathews quiver's fine. They're quite expensive, the Mathews quiver. But this obviously was an expensive sort of setup. So I just want to sort of see how it compares in an expensive setup, what the draw cycle's like, what the grip's like. So this grip on the Mathews is different to the HTR. It doesn't have the ridge. It's quite narrow, and I don't like the grip, to be honest with you. And a lot of people don't like the Mathews grips. For whatever reason, a lot of people will fit other grips to the Mathews. It's more than common, and most of the Mathews pro shooters will fit a different grip to the bow. But saying that, let's sort of see how I shoot. Now this bow was set up for him and not for me, so I'm going to shoot as if it was set up for me, as if it was set up for him, and not change the setup to suit me. So the draw, so I wound the bow down. This is a 70-pound bow. I wound it down 4 turns, dropped the poundage to 51 pounds. Then I put an extra turn on it, and then increased it to 57 pounds. Okay, so he's about the same draw length as me, so he's around 29, so should be okay to shoot. So the draw cycle, solid. Then it just drops off. Very easy, very simple, like no sort of problem draw cycle. Just, and 57 feels light. I'm not saying I'm strong or anything. It's hard for me to believe this is 343 feet per second. It feels like a 330 feet per second bow, and even slower than that with the draw cycle. So if it is, very good, because it's a very good draw cycle all the way through. When you get to the end, it's very solid. very hard to shoot a bow when someone else, because I'm up here, I'm locked onto the side of my face. Normally I'm under here. So this is sort of talking me out a bit, if that makes sense. So it's pushing my alignment out. Does that make sense? So instead of being sort of straight, I'm out here. So it's not as comfortable for me and not as easy to get the back tension release off when it's so high. The bow is very quiet. There's no noise. There's no vibration. It's feels like a 40-pound bow to shoot. It feels very soft. So there's a bit of wind in that shot, and I found I got kicked around a bit. I'm guessing it's got about 75% modules on. No, it's got 85% modules. Now with 85% modules, you're going to get kicked around more in the wind. And I certainly felt that. I felt like I was doing this in the wind. It wasn't... The result down the end was right next to the other arrows, so that's a good thing. Feel like normally I have the string resting in the middle of my nose. This time it's on the edge of my nose. Now this has got to do with the peep sight. So for me to shoot it how I normally shoot, which is under here, so the arrow's much lower down my face, the peep sight would have to move up, and that would cause the whole sights to move up. So you could shoot longer distance. Now for me, when I shoot, I normally lock my hand under my jawline here. So I don't normally need a peep. I wouldn't normally need a peep, and in my bow reviews I don't normally use a peep. With this, it's very critical because here I'm drifting. So my hand's drifting up and down my face. So what I'm doing is I'm using the alignment of the peep, the whole of the peep, to line up with the whole of the housing to try and keep it all aligned. But normally, I would say I wouldn't normally need that because I've got a good anchor point. Okay, so how do I find the Mathews Vertix? Look, it's a nice bow to shoot. It's solid. There's not a lot of tension on the limbs, so there shouldn't be much to go wrong. The problems in my mind, one is the modules. So to change the draw length, you're going to need a module. To change the let off, you're going to need to buy a module. Modules may be hard to source, so that's a problem unless the bow's the right size for you. Changing the modules is not a problem. Changing the strings is a problem. It takes a bit of time to change the strings on a Vertex because you've got to take the axles off. You've got to drop the cams, so it's a bit of a pain. But if you don't have to do it, it's not a problem. And you could say, well, Stephen, you don't change strings very often anyway on your bow, so that's not an issue. That's good. That's up to you. I find the bow a little heavy. Now, heavy is going to be more stable in the wind. It's going to be more stable for target archery, but this is a hunting bow, and I'd like it to be fractionally a bit lighter. But overall, it's not too bad. So the question is going to be, secondhand, what was a bow like this going to sell for? Now, my thing on secondhand bows is they should be about half price because you get no warranty with secondhand. Saying that, the number of times when I sell secondhand bows and the person blows them up, on their first thing, they derail it, bang, bow blows up, and then they want their money back. It's something I've got to deal with every day in the shop. So, saying that, I think it should be like half price for a second-hand bow. However, I think there'll be Mathews shooters who know this is a good bow and will pay more than secondhand for it, more than half price secondhand for it. So the bow, the current model is 1,900 Australian dollars. So what do I think it will go for? Well, you'd probably put around the $900 on it. Now at 900, you think about what's available new for 900. Now new for 900, you're going to get cast risers or machine risers, but you're probably going to get plastic limb pockets. So I'm going to say at 900, this is a better bow than what's available new. And it's like, then you've got that whole thing, new versus secondhand, and it's kind of about half price new. So I think for me, that's a solid bow, and there's not going to be not a lot go wrong with the Mathews, because there's not a lot of tension on the limbs. So the limbs are pretty bulletproof, cams are pretty good, risers aren't going to break. So I think it's pretty good as far as a solid bow. I wouldn't be worried about buying one second hand. Look at the quality of the strings. These strings are in good condition, so that wouldn't worry me. I don't have to put a new set of strings on. If you're going to put new strings on the bow, get price in, because that's going to vary from one shop to another and how much time it takes. I'm going to guess for me to fit a set of strings to a Mathews, got to drop the cams, got to retime the bow. It might be up towards an hour to 50 to 40 minutes. So I would allow an hour. So I would allow I charge $1 a minute. So that's $60 to change a set of strings. And then the cost of making the strings, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 5-piece string set. So you have a yokes, and these are a bit of a pain to make. Then you got the strings. The strings are easy to make. So the yokes are the biggest problem. But there's a bit more time in these strings, so I'm going to say maybe $160, $180 for a set of strings. That will vary in your, where you are and who charges what for things. So you're probably looking at, mid $250 for a new set of strings. I wouldn't put them on unless the strings are shot. So I see so many people grabbing new bows, putting new strings on. Don't need it. Just keep shooting them. But overall, I think the bow's lovely. The Vertix. And lots of people go, well, why do you need to improve on something that's, perfect? Well, I take your point, but people want to buy new stuff. That's what it is. You got to change stuff to make people want to buy it. Because if you've got a bow that you think's good, well, then you don't need to buy another bow. The manufacturers need you to buy another bow. That's what it is. So overall, I like the Spot Hog sight. The micro adjustable rest I really like. The peep I like. It's been nicely tied in. I don't know if it was me who did it, but that's the way I tie them in. So it was probably me who did it. So yeah, like very nice low stabilizer position here. So the Mathews Vertix, if you can get one second hand at your draw length at a good price, it'd be a bow I would consider buying if it's the right price. I think it's a nice solid bow. Easy draw cycle, no noise, no vibration, easy as to shoot, but I think the speeds will be wrong. Now I have done a video on this bow when it was released, back when it was released, and the speeds will be in there that I got from it. I can't remember, but it certainly doesn't feel like a fast bow. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching.